All black tonight. Shirt says it all. Mechee from the Midwest. Been a long day, but the city stays awake. Hold up. You see that? MFTM in the sky. Guess they're calling.
Get your MMA updates from the Mechee from the Midwest podcast. Listen, February 24th, I'm locking that cage and somebody's getting cracked. I've been grinding day and night, sharpening every weapon in the shows. Look at me. Stronger, faster, meaner. Whoever signs on the dotted line is in trouble. They step in there with the Midwest pound. They leech.
Hey, welcome back to the Mechee from the Midwest podcast. I want to thank y'all for tuning in each and every week. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. We got a couple things I want to get into. Last week, I had some internet issues. I guess because of the cold weather, it kicked me mid podcast. And when I try to go to upload it, it's like, well, it's kind of pointless to now because it's a little bit too late. I could have still put the content out there, but I want to make sure I gave y'all a full video and give y'all the full thing versus being a half-ass and stuff. So once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. A couple of topics I want to get in here. Start this episode off, I would like to say happy Black History Month. I know some people don't really look too far in Black History Month, but to me, it's a month that we reflect on the past and bring certain topics up so that everybody know that we've been through a lot. Everybody's been through a lot. As far as Black history, we've been through a lot. Our ancestors have been through a lot. And it's always good to acknowledge those that came before us and speak on certain subjects. And I just want to have a quick topic about Black history and get y'all opinions on some things. One of my boys from work, shout out to my boy Corey, we had a little topic we was talking about, and he gave me some good pointers, and it was a great moment for me to, you know what, let me bring it to the podcast and talk about it and get y'all opinions on it. But to start the show off, I got a few things I want to get into sports. As y'all know, Super Bowl is this week. I don't even know what number we're on, but the Super Bowl is this week between the Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. I want to give my final prediction on that before game day Sunday. The DAZN boxing, we had some crazy matches, some crazy things that happened during the matchups. One of the matchups was the craziest thing I ever seen in boxing. UFC 325, I want to get into those results. I'll be quick about that. And NBA trades. This is one of the biggest NBA trades I've seen all over quite some time, where it's like it seems like every team made some type of trade, and we're going to unpack that. And the other thing I want to get into is Black History Month. I want to talk about a subject. I'm going to be brief about it. Because I just want to see where everybody's mind is when it comes to certain things. So if you could, in the comments, make sure that you reply with what your opinion is on it. And like I said, there's nothing rage bait, race bait, nothing like that. This is a Black man in America wanting to speak to everybody, because anybody's ever been around me, they know I'm not racist. I get along with just about everybody. The only people I don't like is racist people. And that's just not saying that the opposite race. You can have black versus black. Some Black people don't like being Black. Let's just call it for what it is. There's a lot of Uncle Ruckus out here. And I don't get along with those type of people that act like they're not what they are. So we'll get into that. So let me start it off with the UFC results. I want to get that out the way first, just because it was an okay card, but the week before that was actually, to me, it was a lot better. So I just want to give y'all the quick results on it and what I think about some of these fighters and where they headed to next. First fight we had Tuivasa versus Tollison Teixeira. I wanted Tuivasa to win this one. This was his first fight back. He had to cut a lot of weight, and that sounds crazy at heavyweight, but he had to get down to 300, 265 or something like that. He had to get down there. I think he said he walked around about 310, so that's a lot of weight to cut for a heavyweight. They should have just made it a super heavyweight type of fight. I'm not sure why they didn't do that, because losing a lot of weight like that at a heavyweight is going to drain you. Your power is not going to be there, and that's exactly what happened this fight. Tuivasa was taken down a couple of times. Let's see how many times he got taken down 3 times, and it was Teixeira was able to just lay on him and beat on him. And then when they were standing up, you'd think Tuivasa had the advantage, but his power wasn't there, and that comes from the weight drain. So I don't know where he goes from here. He's a fan favorite, a vet in the UFC, but I don't think he's going to be fighting any top competition. He's going to be one of those fights that you put on the main card to bring fans out, because he got a big fan base being from Australia. And he put in work, man. But it's just certain. I think like the top 15, top 10 rankings in heavyweight, he's not going to be able to mess with those guys. And that's not a knock on him. It's just that his time has passed. His window has passed. At one point, he was one of those heavyweights that you didn't want to get involved with, but now they're starting to look like he's a stepping stone. But salute to him anyway, because that's my boy, man. I rock with Tabase. Fayez versus Marcio Rufi. Rufi beat the hell out of this dude. This went to the second round. It was a knockout. He beat the hell out of him. It was an easy fight for him. Rufi said he wants better competition. Fayez is look like he's on his way out the door because he's been dropping a couple of fights to Gaethje and now Rufi. So we'll see how that goes. The co-main event was a back and forth fight for a little bit. The first round, I would say. Second round, Benoit St. Denis beat the hell out of Dan Hooker, pulled off the win. He beat him up pretty bad and got him up out of there. Main event was Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. This was their second time fighting. The champ retained his belt. He won total strikes 112-74, significant strikes 98-70. Both of these guys had 2 takedowns. That was the big difference to me. Shout out to Lopez for even sticking in the fight and not getting taken down more than twice. I don't even think Volkanovski try to attempt way too many. He usually try to attempt at least 10, 12 takedowns, and he's going to come away with at least 5 or 6 of them. But this time, it looked like he's kind of slowing down. But for his championship mentality, it's like it's no stopping this cat, man. So overall, it was a decent card. How many knockouts was on this main card? 2 knockouts on the main card, so that's not bad. But UFC 324, I would say, was better. So as far as UFC goes, man, we got another event coming up. I think this is the UFC Fight Night. We have Mario Batiste versus Vinicius Oliveira. That will be going down most likely next week. So I'll get back in here and give y'all my predictions on that maybe next week, because I don't think they fight this week. I think they're skipping a week since they just had back-to-back events. But that's all I got for UFC, man. Like I said, UFC 325 was a solid one. I just think 324 was a little bit better. But like, share, subscribe to the Mechee from the Midwest podcast for your latest MMA updates.
See the work.
Keep putting in that work.
This Friday is
Keep putting
going
in that
down.
work.
Watch
You know
Mechee
why?
from the Midwest this Friday. Watch close.
We're almost there.
Get knocked out.
It's gonna pay off.
The next thing I wanted to tap into was the DAZN boxing card. If y'all watch this was a night of boxing that you really enjoyed. Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez headlined at this one. And this was the Shakur Stevenson I wanted to see. People that know me know that I'm not a big fan of Shakur Stevenson leading up to this fight. I've seen him perform great in 2 fights. But when you say you're the greatest at your division, I'm expecting you to wipe these dudes out. I know some people, he's not a technical fighter. He's more of a defensive fighter. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm born and raised off boxing, heavyweights, middleweights, welterweights, the bigger guys that's going for knockouts. They're not going around trying to display that they got defense. Nobody cares about that. It's a big thing in boxing, but you have to be able to throw punches. You got to be able to dominate. You have to be able to entertain. That's what you're here for. If you're not going to do that, people are going to boo you. People are not going to want to see you fight. They're not going to check for you. And that's always been my issue with him. It's nothing personal. It's just he's not my style of fighter. So let's get into the card, man. We're going to start off with one of the craziest fights I saw, man. Damn, Jarrell Big Baby Miller went against Kingsley Abia. The very first round of this fight, we didn't know what was going on, but Big Baby took some power shots to the dome piece, and the way that his hair is set up, his unit, it's like this whole side right here, it looked like he had a part in his head. So in my mind, because I was having a little wine chilling, I'm thinking that he's getting punched and Buddy is putting a part in his head. Whole time this dude got on a man unit and Buddy get the punching right in the forehead, the mug flip up. He got the Uncle Phil, like I said, if you caught back in the days, there was an episode where Uncle Phil was trying to tap back into having hair, and he went out and got a man unit, he was trying on different type of wigs and stuff like that, and he just none of them. It didn't look right on him. Jarrell Miller. I've seen these last couple of fights, and I've seen the way his hair looked, and I'm like, damn, he got a different hairstyle every time. But at some point, just like me right now, you have to give up your hair, dog. You're not gonna have it forever. When it starts thinning out, give it up. My brother Dre, shout out to my brother. His shit is starting to thin out at the top too. And he used to make fun of me we only a couple years apart. And you get to making fun of me saying, oh dog, you going bald and shit. Whole time you right behind me, dog. So if your hair is starting to thin out, man, just go with the low bald fade. And if you don't feel that, just go straight bald. It's better that way. But overall, Jamel Miller said he's been having a couple interviews in New York or whatever, and he said, look, I can't lose my hair in the fight. And he found a way to pull this fight off. He kept it close, and finally he started pulling away because buddy that he fought was pretty much letting off the gas. I think he thought that just because he was winning the early rounds, the first 3 or 4 rounds, that he was winning the rest of the fight, and that wasn't the case. Jarrell Miller dug deep and pulled off the win and saved himself half the embarrassment. But losing your hair during the fight was the craziest shit I've seen in a while. Moving on, Bruce Shushu Carrington versus Carlos Castro, a featherweight fight. This fight started off kind of suspect because Bruce was getting his distance right and stuff. And I want to say like round 3 or 4, he got clipped. He thought he got hit in the back of the head, but the whole time he got hit on the side of the head. And it threw him off a little bit. So he got a little cautious. And for about 2 rounds, he was still trying to get his body back right. And once he started establishing his jab, he hit Castro with one of the meanest 5 punch outs that put Buddy down, and he couldn't recover. I know it's early in the year. This is going to be a candidate for a knockout of the year. If you haven't saw that, go look at Shushu Carrington versus Castro. The knockout, I think it was round 6 or 7, something like that. That knockout was beautiful. 5-punch knockout. My type of fights. If you're losing a fight or if it's a close fight, don't let it go to the judges. Put that man down to where he can't get up he can't break the count. And you're going to win that fight. He won this belt in the featherweight division. He said he won all the top cats. So salute to my boy Shushu. Co-main event, another masterclass. Keyshawn Davis versus Jermaine Ortiz. Keyshawn Davis, no knock to him. He is like Pat Beverly, man. He talk a lot of shit, but he can back his shit up when it comes to boxing. This is one of the best boxers at 140. He just moved up to 140. He looked like one of the best already in this division. I know Shakur Stevenson, we'll get to him in a second, is they're real close. They like brothers. They both at 140 now. Hey, at some point that fight might have to happen. If both of y'all gonna be the best, it's only one way to prove who the best. You feel me? But I don't think that fight will happen. Not necessarily, not right now. There's a lot of other people that they can fight. But as far as Keyshawn goes, Keyshawn won every single round of this fight. And finally, in round 12, he was able to put Jermaine Ortiz down to win the fight. I think did he win a belt? I don't think Keyshawn won a belt, but after the fight, he called out Devin Haney. He said Devin Haney's been talking crazy. Bill Haney, his dad, been talking crazy. Set up the fight. Let's see who the best at 140. And that's a fight I'm there for. Not just because I want to see Devin Haney lose, but I've seen Devin Haney these last couple fights actually go fight people and put people down. He put Brian Norman down when Brian Norman was coming off one of the knockouts of the decade. So seeing Keyshawn go out there and destroy Jermaine Ortiz like that, give him that fight. If it's not next, keep on letting Keyshawn continue to rack up wins and give him one of them fights at 140. Main event of the evening, Shakur Stevenson went against Teofimo Lopez, and this fight went the distance, but it was a clean wipeout. I think they gave 1 round to Teofimo. To me, what this fight was, this was Shakur taking it to that next level. This is the type of fight that he fought was the type of fight that boxing fans want to see. I know it's a lot of biased people that they get on one fighter and like, no, he can't do no wrong. This is fighting style. If the whole world is saying, the whole boxing world is saying, hey, I don't really tune into Shakur Stevenson because he's a boring fighter. He got pillow for him. He ain't knocking nobody out. It's a sleep fest. About time to get past round 2. I'm turning the TV off and I'll check back. I know he's gonna win because he's barely throwing punches. He's barely getting hit. Now I know that might sound crazy, but like I said, when you look at boxing, you want to see the brutality of it. You want to see a knockout. You want to see somebody jabbing him up. You got to see some blood. If that person, you look over to that corner and at the end of the fight, you raising your hand saying, "I just whooped this dude ass," and he looked the same as you, what did you really do? This was not the case. He whooped the hell out of Teofimo this fight. And I got to give him credit. This is the second fight in a row that he's destroyed somebody. Zepeda, that was a Mexican style fight, and Shakur stayed up in there with him the whole time. He had him a little woozy a couple times. Teofimo Lopez. Lopez was not focused this fight, and it's not an excuse for him. But I said before this fight even happened, he does not look like he's focused. He's saying suspect stuff to Shakur, talking about so and so, I can fit this in your mouth. Like certain stuff you don't say to a man, especially when it comes to being boxing and you got to get in the ring and fight this man the next night. He was saying some suspect stuff. He didn't seem serious. He didn't seem like he was confident. After the first couple of rounds, his dad had to give him a hug to say, that's how you fight. He won one round. After that round, so I say about round 5, he gave his son a hug and said, look, that's how you fight. That's how you do it. And I'm thinking, dog, if your pops got to give you a hug in the middle of the fight to say this is what you should be doing, you're losing this fight very bad. He didn't win another round. He lost 11 rounds to 1. I wouldn't even give him that round. I think that Shakur dominated him on every level. He was way too fast for him. He jabbed him up. He bloodied him up. He embarrassed him. Lopez didn't look like he was supposed to be in that ring, and he was a champ. So for Shakur to go up and weight, I think from 134 up to 140 and to whoop his ass like that, salute to him. But going forward, that's the type of fights I would tune in for Shakur Stevenson. If he's going to be on his back foot all night, throwing like 20 punches for the entire night, that's not what I want to see. That's what drew a lot of people away from Money Mayweather, and it can happen to Shakur. A lot of people have said this. I'm not the first one. A lot of people in history have said, yes, he's 26-0 or whatever, but what does he really do? How many fights can you say that he dominated people and looked great at it? And I would say 3 fights: Herring, Zepeda, and now Teofimo Lopez. But overall, this is the type of fight I want to see. I don't want to, you miss me with the other bullshit. I think Conor Ben got in the ring after this fight and said that's what they want next. I think that style of fight can get Shakur to continue rising as a superstar, because now you're fighting names that people know that's relevant and you're beating them dudes. Conor Ben is one that's going to put pressure on him and throw power punches that can hurt him if he put too many power punches on him. But this is the perfect fight for Shakur to display his defense and counter him, because Conor Ben can be reckless at times. But overall, salute to Shakur Stevenson. You gained somewhat of a fan. But if you go back to the other bullshit, looking trash against these lower ranked people that's barely ranked, then I can't rock with that. So overall, I enjoyed that card, a great card. That's all I got for y'all with boxing, man. DAZN boxing. We got a couple more events coming up very soon. I'll tap back in with y'all about that. But let's move on to the next subject. Before we do that, like, share, subscribe to the Mechee from the Midwest podcast for your latest boxing updates.
Demetrius right here. Give us a look.
You see it, man. Fresh Lakers jersey, number 30. I feel like I'm ready to check in.
Turn around, let us get the back.
Got you. Brooks on the back, like I really suit up.
Love it, Demetrius.
Appreciate y'all.
Moving right along, man, let's get into these NBA trades. I want to be very quick about this because this was, like I said, it was big trades going on this year. And it just seems like everybody got traded this year. So let's get to the NBA trade deadline. So I got to bring it up back on my phone until I get my actual other parts set up. But let me see here. Trades. News, games. I hope y'all doing good out there, man. In the comments, let me know what your team is, what you think how did your team do with the trade? Did they go for the people that you expected them to or whatnot? NBA trade tracker. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. We have, damn, it's so many, man. Trade deadline tracker. Okay. I'm going to go back from where it all started. Let's get back down here. We're going to go. Yeah. All right. So, first one, we had Trae Young getting traded. No, that's January. My bad. Let me get to February. Okay, February. We got Memphis Grizzlies get Kyle Anderson, Walter Clayton, Taylor Hendricks, George Yang, and Utah gets Jaren Jackson Jr., Conchar, Jock Lindell, and Vince Williams. That trade right there, the biggest winner was Jaren Jackson going to Utah to play with Markkanen, Kessler, Keontae George, I want to say. They got a nice little team over there. Not saying that they could compete right now, but they're working with something. They're going to have a lot of draft picks. If they sign Jaren Jackson to a long-term deal, that's a defensive player of the year. They'll look solid. A three-team chain, we had Mike Conley and Jaden Ivey going to the Bulls. Detroit gets Kevin Huerter, Dario Saric. The Bulls, they just pretty much unloaded to get a couple of more guards. I think they sent Conley back off. They shipped him off somewhere. But I think Jaden Ivey coming off the bench will be a solid move for them. Big trade right here was, I think the best trade was Anthony Simons. He got traded to the Bulls for Nikola Vujic to Boston Celtics. That gives the Boston Celtics a center that they've needed, a much-needed center. I know they had Porzingis a couple years ago when they won a championship, but he wasn't healthy. Vujic has been very healthy. I know he's up there in age. He's like 34, 35 maybe. But this tells me that if Jason Tatum was to come back closer to the end of the year, Boston is going to go on another run because that was what they lacked was a big man. I know the big man they got right now could go to the bench. Vujic is a 15 and 10 type of guy, a defender. That's what Boston needs. And he can hit the three-pointer. You know Boston's going – everybody on their roster can shoot a three. So I think that was one of the biggest trades. The Clippers and the Cleveland Cavaliers made a trade. Darius Garland is now a Clipper. James Harden is now a Cleveland Cavalier. I think both of these cats won the trade just to see they can hide James Harden on defense. Cleveland Cavaliers is a defensive-minded team. They need another scorer. And I know James Harden has fell off a lot when it comes to the playoff. That's always been the thing about him. But with him being on a team like Cleveland, if they're defending that, his leg is going to be fresh to shoot. So if you want to get back, he's been averaging like 20 points. If he could give him 20, 25 a night, this would be way better than what they got from Darius Garland in the last couple of years because he was injured when the playoffs came or he just didn't look too good. So I think they'll be all right. I think Darius Garland going to play with Kawhi Leonard is going to be okay as well. Dallas and the Washington Wizards. Anthony Davis is traded to Washington. Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum. Dallas receives Chris Middleton, Al Johnson, Branham, and Bagley, and a bunch of picks. That was a solid one because now you put Anthony Davis with Trae Young and Alex Sarr and a couple other, I want to say another George, Keyshawn George. That's a solid young team that they can build around. The East is really wide open, but Washington is a team that could get into the playoffs and just get a bigger fan base with those type of players over there. Dallas, it just looks like they're just loading up on the draft and have all these draft picks to trade for somebody bigger. Sixers trade McCain to the Thunder. They got him for a couple of first round pick and a couple of second round picks. Solid pick because Jared McCain is going to be able to come off the bench behind SGA, a little young defender, young scrappy defender, and a shooter. So that helps out with them on the bench. The Bulls and the Hornets made a trade. Colin Sexton and Ding were traded to Charlotte, from Charlotte, and Charlotte gets Mike Conley, Kobe White, and a second round pick. Another solid one. Kobe White coming off the bench or starting alongside LaMelo Ball. It should be solid because he's the two guard, I want to say. Chris Paul was finally traded from the Clippers. I thought they retired his ass, but they traded him to Toronto Raptors for a couple of draft picks. nothing too much to see there. Lindell was end up traded from Memphis to Atlanta or somewhere else to Atlanta, and now from Utah. He is now on Atlanta. Lonzo Ball was traded to Utah. I think they're going to buy him out, and he might be able to sign with whatever he want to sign with. Some people were saying Charlotte. I wouldn't mind him back with the Lakers because we need that type of. He's a defender. He's still got a little bit in the tank. Put him on the bench, come off, play lockdown defense. Titus Jones was traded to the Charlotte Hornets for some cash and money. What else we got? Atlanta gets Kuminga and Buddy Hield from Golden State Warriors. Golden State Warriors get Christian Porzingis. That's a big pickup because you put him with Draymond. I don't know if Jimmy Butler's out for the year, but if Jimmy Butler's available and Curry, they could do a nice little run. I don't see them making it deep in the playoffs, but it's something to build off of. I think it's only a couple more trades. We had Toronto gets Tracy Jackson from Golden State for a second-round pick. Yabuze from New York was traded to the Bulls for Dalen Terry. Ayo Desumi was traded from Chicago to Minnesota for Rob Dillinghall, Leonard Miller, and about 4 second-round picks. Lakers get Luke Kennard. Right now he's leading the league in three-point shooting. I'm okay with that, but when I looked at it, it was like, dog, he averaged 2 makes a game. So, of course, it's easy to do that, but we need a shooter off the bench. So I'm okay with that. And we got rid of Gabe Vincent, so I'm not going to complain. I think that was a solid trade for the Lakers. Eric Gordon was traded to Memphis for a second-round pick from the Sixers. And, damn, we still have more. Nick Richards and Dean was traded from to the Bucks. The Phoenix Suns get Cole Anthony, Amir Coffey, and the Bulls get Nick Richards. That was a 4-man trade. I don't know how the hell that worked. I'm seeing 2 names. Jose Alvarado was traded to the Knicks for Dalen Terry. Damn, they just tossing a couple of these folks around. Jose Alvarado coming off the bench, being a defender, an okay shooter. That'll help Jalen Bronson out. Hunter Tyson was traded to the Nets for a second round from the Nuggets. Clippers get Benedict Mathurin and Isaiah Jackson and a couple first rounders for Zubac and Kobe Brown. That's a big move for the Pacers because they needed a center after losing Myles Garrett. Jay Huff ain't really been working out. He's been okay. But Zubac is a 15-10 type of guy as well. Definitely what they need building on the future. And I think that's really it. The last move I see on here was Boston got some money and they sent Xavier Tillman to the Charlotte Hornets. So overall, it wasn't too bad. I would say the winners out of this one is obviously Vujic going to Boston because they need a big. The Lakers is another one, not just because I'm a Lakers fan, but we need a perimeter shooter. Connect hasn't been doing anything. I hope that Kennard can come out there and give us baskets wide open 3-pointers we need to knock down. When Luka go to the bench, we need those type of guys to come in the game and keep the score moving up. I think that's a solid pick. The other one, Anthony Davis, I know I'm not a big fan of Anthony Davis after he left the Lakers or before he even got there. I think with him and Trae Young next year, they can bring a spark back to Washington, so I give them a little credit. And like I said, the James Harden and Garland is good for both players. I hope that pushes both of them over a little bit. But at the end of the day, OKC, San Antonio Spurs, Boston Celtics, Detroit Pistons, those might be the Final Four. So those teams right there are going to be the teams I think is going to end up in the Final Four. So even with all the moves made, great for all these teams, but some of these teams just not going to be messed with when they get to the playoffs. So that's all I got for the NBA trades, man. In the comments, let me know what your team picked up. Are you okay? What would you grade the player that your team picked up? And how you feeling going into the second half of the season? Because All-Star week is almost here. Let me know something, y'all. That's all I got for NBA. Like, share, subscribe to the Mechee from the Midwest podcast.
I was overlooked my whole life, but all it takes is one call. I run for everyone who said I couldn't.
With the 29th pick in the 2025 draft, the Tennessee Titans select Demetrius Brooks, running back, South.
The next topic I want to get into is the Super Bowl. We are finally here. It's the final countdown, the final game of the season. Very stressful at this time because I said I'm a diehard football fan. I hate that it's that time, man, but it is what it is. This is what we signed up for. This is what we wanted to see. But damn, man, I hate that it had to come to an end, y'all. So let's get into it. Just get into a couple of numbers right now. And I want to give my final pick. I want to be brief on that because I want to wrap this up. Sam Darnold for the year, 4,048 yards with 25 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker, 1,027 yards, 5 touchdowns. Charbonnet, 730 with 12 touchdowns. Their leading receiver, Njigma, 1,793 with 10 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp, 593 with 2 TDs. Barner, 519 yards, 6 TDs. Patriots, Drake May, 4,394 passing yards, 31 touchdowns. Henderson, 911 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns. Stevenson, 603 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. Drake May, 450 rushing yards, 4 TDs. Stephon Diggs, 1,000 yards with 13, 4 TDs. Hunter Henry, 768 with 7 TDs. Boutte, 551 with 6 TDs, and Collins, 550 with 2. Douglas with 447 and 3. So it looks like to me, the Patriots spread the ball out a little bit more, but Seattle, the biggest difference going to be in the Super Bowl is the defense. If Seattle was able to put pressure on Drake May all day and Christian Gonzalez able to lock down Diggs, which should be a tough task because Diggs has been thirsty for this Super Bowl. After coming off the losses with Buffalo, after being with Houston tearing his ACL, like he said, he feel like everybody gave up on him. This is his point to prove. Who's going to be the better team? As far as the quarterback play, Drake May is the better quarterback to me because he's the leading or second in the MVP race right now. He's had the better season overall, I would say. Running backs, Kenneth Walker has played great. Charbonnet has played great. I think they look pretty good. It's kind of a tie because Stevenson and Henderson have looked well together as well. So they both got 2 running backs that can ball out. As the receivers go, Njigma has been the best receiver all year. No debate. Cooper Kupp has been okay. Barner is their tight end. He's been okay. Diggs, Douglas, Boutte, Hunter Henry, they were able to spread the ball out more, so they have more targets. With the defense on Seattle, it's going to come down to that. If they're able to shut down Diggs and make Douglas limited, Henry limited stuff, shut down the middle of that field, it's going to be a long night for the New England Patriots. If I had to pick a team to win, I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks just because Sam Darnold was labeled a bust early in his career, and he was able to turn it around. He went to Minnesota, won 14 games, and they released him. He goes sign with Seattle, and he wins another 14 games. So he won 28 games in the last 2 seasons after being labeled a bust for his first 4 or 5 years. So I'm going to rock with him because he's the underdog going in here. I'm all about defense. The better defense team is always going to get my pick for the most part, and I'm not going to change it this year. Seattle Seahawks defense, what they call dark – what is it, Dark Knight? No. Something dark, whatever, dark something, whatever they label now. I think they got the better defense. I keep saying Diggs on Gonzalez on Njigma. I don't see Gonzalez slowing down Njigma too much. If he does, that's going to be a concern. But the weak point for me would be on the Patriots. It would be the run game. If they're forcing the Patriots to pass, I can't see them winning this game. if on the other side, if Darnold comes out there and shit the bed and we start throwing all these picks and he can't recover from it, obviously they're going to lose the game. If Seattle defense is exposed, if they can't stop the run, which I think they will be able to, it's going to be a long game. But overall, my final pick is the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm going off that just because they got the better defense. I got to rock with Seattle, man. There's no other reason. I think they're the better team. I just think that Drake May had a better season than Darnold. I'm going to rock with Seattle, man. That's my final pick of that. And like I said, it's based off having the better defense. I really don't have too much info else to put on that because I've watched both these teams play. And like I said, I'm a defensive type of player. So I got to rock with them. I expect a big game from Njigba. I expect a big game from Walker. I expect Darnold to throw for 250 plus. If he's able to throw for 250 plus with a couple TDs, game over. I don't want to see the Patriots win. That's another thing. I don't want to see them win. But also, on the other hand, I wouldn't mind seeing Stephon Diggs get a Super Bowl ring and the Patriots win it because Mike Vrabel's there and it's without Tom Brady. So I'm it's like right here for me. But I'm not going to keep repeating myself. My final pick for the NFL Super Bowl this year is the Seattle Seahawks. That's my pick. In the comments, give me your opinion on who will win this game and what will be the main reason for your team to win this game. Seattle Seahawks for me and my nephew. That's his team, so I got to rock with my nephew. Like, share, and subscribe to the Mechee from the Midwest podcast for your latest NFL updates. This will be the last update on NFL until April, man, once the NFL draft come around. So I'll keep y'all updated on that.
Good evening. When we talk about Black History Month, we're not just looking back. We're recognizing the power that's still shaping our future. From Harriet Tubman to the engineers building tomorrow's cities.
I want to get into this last topic. This last topic is touchy because it's Black History Month, and it was a topic that me and my homie was talking about. And I just want to be kind of brief on here and give y'all my opinion on what I think about this subject. And that subject is, the question I want to say is, would you prefer we stayed segregated? And when I say that, it's as the culture of Black people from at one certain point, we went from slaves to being released from being slaves to owning our own businesses and stuff. And then Black Wall Street happened, the massacre happened there, and it destroyed a lot of our businesses back in the days. And as the 1900s rolled around, later on in the 1900s, slavery was gone, but then racism just hit an all-time high at one point to where we had to be segregated, and people felt that we weren't superior, that we were, well, not that we're superior, but we were on the same level, which the color of skin should never be determined on who's the best or better. We should all be trying to be great and help each other else out, get to the next level. So to answer this question, when my boy asked me about this, I said, he brought up a couple of good points. I brought up a couple of good points, I would say. My thing was, he said that if we were still segregated, we could have had our own stuff going on, like the Black Wall Street. We could have had our own banks, our own businesses and stuff like that, and we wouldn't have to worry about playing middleman or having to answer somebody else or feel like we're not getting the same opportunities as other race because of our race. And I was like, you know what? That's a good point. But then the way I see it was that the only way we're going to be able to get ahead in life is if we work together. If we stop looking at each other just because one person is Black, one person is white, one person is Hispanic, and we feel like we can't get along because of the color of our skin, we'll never get anywhere. Racism to me is one of the biggest issues in America. I've witnessed it. I've felt it at a young age. I've spoken about this before. I can remember earliest time was when I was about maybe 8 or 9 years old, and one of our neighbors was a young white kid, and we were all about him and my brother was the same age, so there's about 5 or 6, and I was about 8 or something like that, and we were all just playing around, and I guess the dad didn't like that we were having too much fun, and he called me the N-word and said, I don't want you playing with my son or my brother playing with his son. It's like, dog, we all cool. We were even going to this little church, a Salvation Army church. I know a lot of people don't know that, but it was a Salvation Army church where I started realizing that like all people are not racist. And at that point, when we met, when the dad said that to me, it broke my heart because it was like, he said this in front of my youngest, my little brother. And we're not understanding why he's talking to us like this. Like these are back in the days, like we segregated and it was bullshit. But anywho, the thing about it, I can see it from both ways. Now, look, if we were still segregated, I think one thing that would have happened was that Black people would be able to get along better because the way that they were coming up, trying to build businesses, they were working together. It wasn't, oh, this bank is Black, this bank is Black. Oh, we got to have more people than y'all over here. We got to have more accounts than y'all. They were trying to work together. They were giving each other tips on how they can become better. But what happened, what jumped in the middle of the Black Wall Street massacre was a white mob that didn't like what was going on, seeing that Black Americans were improving in life and doing good without them, and they set the whole thing on fire, and they never recovered from this. I know they rebuild like the area and stuff like that, but if you can imagine how, this is what I'll say, because I don't want to be all over the place. Could you imagine how many things would be different if African Americans, Black Americans weren't a part of it? You think of music, if you think about hip hop, rap, if that never existed, if we had our own, because if you look at it, a lot of these record labels are majority not Black people because we don't know how to manage the money stuff. If at that, back in the days, if they were able to work together and get to that point, get the knowledge that they were able to get, they wouldn't be getting messed over on these deals. But now, as you fast forward, a lot of people did get messed over on deals because then you have those that I say that don't like to see each other do better. So they put them in a 360 deal or something like that, where you got to have this album, you owe me money until like 20 or 30 years, and then you'll start recouping the money that you made, which is crazy. Sports, when you think about the NFL, you think about the NBA. Could you imagine an NFL or NBA without Black Americans, African Americans on that field? That's 70% of the league. You wouldn't have nothing out there, and it's not trying to sound funny, but you wouldn't have nothing out there but kickers, punters, offensive line, a couple of D linemen, a couple of linebackers. Go look at your favorite football team, and I want you to look at how many Black people are on that starting lineup. And I'm not trying to segregate now. I'm just saying that we all need each other at the end of the day. The only way that we can get ahead in this lifetime is if we work together. We don't all have to love each other. We don't have to hate each other, but we have to get along. We don't have to be segregated. You shouldn't have to feel like when you go to a bank, oh, they ain't gonna give me no loan because I'm Black. Like, we can't go with that. We have to be able to get the resources from our fellow Americans and ask them, hey, how can we get a bank loan? How can we do this and how can we do that? Because at the end of the day, it's a lot of people that look at us just like the same. I've got a lot of white friends, Hispanic friends that I've met over this lifetime, and they treat me like a regular human. I do the same. But the moment that I hear that you talking down on me or saying that because I'm Black, I do this, or being racially profiling me, then I don't want to fuck with you. I can't be cool with you. So to answer the question, in my opinion, I think we're better off not segregated because we can all learn from each other. And as the generation grows up, our kids should be growing up knowing that, yes, this is a touchy situation in the past, but we need to leave it in the past and work on being better and getting along better so we can make it to that next level. So then once we're no longer here, it's a whole different world for our kids that they can go outside and be cool with this person or that person and not have to be judged by the color of their skin. And that was Martin Luther King's dream. I believe that this can happen. We might not be around to see it. Like I said, I'm 38 years old. I might not be around to see it, but I pray that my child, and if I have any more kids or she has kids, that they're able to witness a world getting along better. So My question to you is, do you think that the world would be able to operate if we were still segregated? That is my question to you. I want you to be a professional. I want you to give me your honest opinion. Don't get on my post talking stupid. If you're going to talk stupid, I'm just going to block you on the page. I don't want to hear no stupid shit. I want to know what the benefits, if you believe that it'd have been better off segregated, what are the benefits of being segregated and what are the benefits of not being segregated? That's my question to y'all. Much love to y'all. Again, happy Black History Month. Do your research on Black history, things that were invented by Black people in this world. And every day should be Black history. We should celebrate this every single day being Black. Just do better at loving one another, showing respect to each other, and avoiding those that just can't get out their way. And this goes for my people as well. Black people, we can't keep on saying we hate a certain race just because of what happened back in the days. All we can do is not tolerate the ones that still acting like we back in the days. But for those that show respect, they get respect. Outside of that, don't fuck with them. Cut them off. That's all I got for y'all. Like, share, and subscribe to the Mechee from the Midwest podcast. I'll be talking about Black history for these next couple of weeks. Giving y'all a couple of questions I want to ask. And that's all I got for y'all, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Let me know what y'all think about my little promos between each video. I got a Super Bowl commercial in there and just a couple other ones. Let me know which one was your favorite on the video. Like, share, and subscribe to the Mechee from the Midwest podcast, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I will catch you.
It's peaceful out here.